What's going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of the Sneaker Principle Podcast. And this is going to be episode 31? Hold up, is it 31? I gotta look at my channel over here and see what was the last video I uploaded. I believe it's 31, but I just want to make sure. So this is episode 31. So now for the past 31 days, 17 days or 16 days prior to the new year, I started recording content every single day with the intention of doing this every day all the way till July 30th. And this is in celebration of my 20th year in New York City, but also seeing what happens when I force myself to think, create, go through the stumbling blocks of not knowing what to say, what to create, having that mental block. But my thing is just create content. So there are days where I'm not quite sure why I'm doing this, but there are days that I feel inspired. Either way, it's like my fitness journey. Every day I gotta do something. And the days that I don't do anything, I feel it. Like I really feel like I am useless and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And I went against my word. And somebody might say, like, why are you doing that to yourself? Why put so much pressure on yourself? And I really believe that we live in a society where we don't put any pressure on ourselves. So when pressure does happen, we crack. And I went through that over the past couple of years, not knowing how to handle stress and pressure because I was not putting myself in positions where I had to be stressful, where I had to be stressed and experience stressfulness so that I can, reach that level of control. So this is all part of my self-development. Somebody might say, well, dude, you're like in your late 40s. But you know what, though? We never stop growing. We never stop developing. And this is part of my process. So, yeah. Episode number 31. So today, I know what I want to talk about this evening. The day is over. I tried to squeeze in these episodes either early in the morning or at the end of my day so that I can just do this one last thing before I move on into my evening. So earlier, I was browsing through social media. I was taking a little social media break, and I noticed I had all these comments from my main YouTube channel that I hadn't responded to, and so I'm reading through them. And one of the response was to a video that I did, almost 2 years ago, where I talked about the struggles of being an administrator, and just how hard it is, and how I was burnt out. I was done, and thank God for grace. Thank God for other opportunities. I found myself being able to take some time off, even though it wasn't the way I thought it was supposed to be, but it allowed me enough time that I'm back into the seat doing what I do now. And I know, even looking at those videos, I look and I feel so much better than I did in those videos. But one of the comments stated that I think something like what was the wording? I don't want to misquote what this person said, so I'm going to just go into my community and I'm going to go through my comments, and I think I might be able to find it. I wish I knew how to navigate. Oh, view all. That's what it is. So view all. It was a one-liner actually, and it was such a powerful one-liner. I just hope I can find it. And if I'm not able to find it, then I guess I'm just going to have to, yeah, it might be far back in the comments. It was an old comment. but the comment itself pretty much was saying, the person was saying like, wow, finally we get to hear from the side of a school administrator. Which was funny because in our training in the culture of leadership in education, principals, assistant principals, various level administrators, and even superintendents and people at those levels tend to live their lives with a stiff upper lip. They usually have two emotions: frustration towards inaptitude or nothing. I mean, there are smiles here and there, but for the most part, it's like about the work. It's like nonstop, which it should be. But the humanity in what we do is rarely ever seen or appreciated. You know, it's almost, it's kind of beat into us that we're not showing any emotion. We're not supposed to be friends with our staff. We're not supposed to do anything. Like, you know, you can't be with them in a social setting because you're the principal. You don't want people to misread or misconstrue your intentions. And all the normal social interactions of humanity is kind of pulled out of us. And we're like, you have to stand over here and everybody's over there. I know principals who said to me, you go out with your staff? And people who know me, I'm not a big group social person. This is not me. But if the staff is having an outing after a long week or whatever the case may be, and they say, hey, Mr. Joker, we would like to join us, I'm going to go. As long as my schedule permits it, I'm going to go. Let me tell you what happens when you're in these spaces. You get to sit down. You might partake of a adult beverage. And you have conversations. And at least for me, I talk to people and I get to know about their families. I get to know about their interests and the things they're into. We get to laugh, joke around, and what all these things that allows us to just say, all the things that we're dealing with during the day stays there. Here, we just get to be us. And I've actually even sat with teachers who were struggling during the day, and outside of the school building, they're relaxed, and we get to have deeper conversations, and then they share themselves. And I'm like, oh, I have a better understanding of you. So now I know how to better speak to you and how to better support you. You know, I have principals who say, you know, I don't share anything personal whatsoever. And I'm like, so your staff gets to dump on you all the things that they're going through. And I use the word dump delicately. So anybody who's offended by that, please forgive me. But I'm talking about when you're the only one and everything is just coming on you. This happened, that happened, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. And nobody knows what you're going through. I personally have taken the stance of saying, if we're a team, we are a family, we are one unit with one mission under one vision, there has to be an allowance there for us to be human around each other. Because it's my responsibility as the principal to still maintain the clarity of leadership. But it doesn't mean that I can't allow myself to be human. To tell a colleague, listen, I know what you're going through. I've been through that. I'm going through the same thing right now, but this is what we need to do, you know, or this is what my advice is, or what do you advise? With the understanding that we're still here under the same vision and mission in supporting our kids. I just thought it was really strange that this person was like, no, let me take that back. It wasn't strange at all. It's normal. It's normal, this abnormal mentality of administrators, admin, being broken. Like in a sense, like you're not even human. I've been lucky. You know, yes, I've had those early on. I had a principal who was very private, and listen, that's your right, be private. But it almost felt like not real, like something was always off, you know. And I never really got to know this person beyond the time I spent under their leadership. But every other principal I've had, except for one in Nevada, and I've spoken about that experience in other videos, or even podcasts. But outside of those two people, every leader I've ever worked with, I've gotten to know pretty well. The ones that I've grown to love, and the ones that were not my cup of tea. But the space was created for us to get to know each other, to understand the human sides of us. Because again, in education, in public service, in the military, whatever it is, you spend a lot of time with other people. And you spend a lot of time with other people in sometimes some of their rawer states. I'm talking about they're raw. They're having a bad day. Things are going on. That kid did this happened. You know, or you had an observation that didn't go well and you're beating yourself up. All these things are all part of, you know, being human. That is necessary so that we can hedge around each other and protect each other and be around each other. And I'm pretty sure what I'm saying right now is probably making some people uncomfortable because, again, we were trained to keep that distance. I don't keep that distance. Not in the sense of like I have no boundaries whatsoever, but I don't put up an intentional wall that says that I am something other than a human being, you know, that happens to be the leader or the principal educator in this space. I still maintain professionalism. I still exercise respect. But I also let myself the opportunity to be human and smile and laugh and joke around, you know, and also cry and give a staff member a hug when they went through a tragedy. You know, pat a staff member in the back saying, listen, it's going to be okay. You know, sit down and say, listen, it's not even about work right now. Talk to me. What's going on? And also saying, hey, I need to get this off my chest. And having a staff member say, hey, I got you, talk to me. And they pour into me as well. And what this leads into is a team that is understanding of respect and love and joy around being with each other, knowing that everything we do is for the success of our students and our children. There's also a genuine respect and love for each other. How can you love the kids and love what you do if you don't love what you are? How do you love where you are if you don't love the things that are in that space? You know, and I'm not talking about like this, kind of like, oh my God, obsessive love. I'm just saying like when you see your colleagues and you smile and say, you know what though? I love where I work. I love my colleagues. I love this energy here. I have worked very hard and I work very hard to allow for spaces that I lead in to be, you know, joyful, to be, you know, a happy space. It's not always, listen, there are definitely bad days in there, but my goal is always to count the days in totality and hope that there are more good days than bad days. And I know for a fact there are definitely way more good days than bad days. And when there are bad days, there's always somebody to talk to. So call to action. If you are a leader, teacher leader, aspiring administrator, whatever you are, do not let the role dictate who you are as a human being. All the role is a title with an attached job description. But I guarantee you, when you read that job description, no part of it says, you know, your responsibility is to be inhuman. Your responsibility is to be disconnected. Your responsibility is not to smile. Your responsibility is to avoid. No. Find the space that you're comfortable with, that is still professional, and be human. All right, y'all. Uche and Joku, Sneaker Principal. Till next time, be well.